My wife was supposedly dead. Then I walked into my abandoned home and saw this. What happened next exposed a family secret that shattered everything I thought I knew about love, loyalty, and the woman who raised me. Before we move on, tell me in the comments which state you're watching from. And don't forget to subscribe. Tomorrow's episode may touch a story that is still unfolding. Black Mercedes rolled through Atlanta's downtown streets. Marcus Washington sat in the back seat, arms folded across his chest, staring through tinted windows at a city he barely recognized anymore. 35 years old, navy suit pressed sharp enough to cut glass, shoes polished until they reflected like mirrors. A leather briefcase rested beside him, stuffed with contracts for buying and selling commercial properties across Georgia. From the outside, Marcus looked like success incarnated. Money, power, influence, but anyone who studied his eyes long enough would see something else entirely. Emptiness, a void so deep it swallowed everything good. "Mr. Washington, we will arrive in approximately 20 minutes, his driver announced from the front seat. "Traffic is moving smoothly today." "Good," Marcus replied. No smile touched his lips. Smiling had become a foreign language he no longer spoke. Marcus was heading toward his childhood home on Peachtree Street, the house he had not seen in 8 long years. A development corporation wanted to purchase every property on that block, demolish them all, and construct a massive shopping complex. Marcus would receive $200,000 just for his abandoned house. Smart business, profitable business. That is what Marcus told himself repeatedly. But somewhere deep in his stomach, something twisted with discomfort he could not name. The Mercedes glided past gleaming skyscrapers made of steel and glass, past upscale restaurants where people paid more for one meal than Marcus used to earn in a month back when he was young and struggling. Then gradually, the scenery shifted. Buildings grew shorter, paint peeled from walls in long strips. Potholes cratered the asphalt. The car bounced and rocked. Marcus straightened in his seat. He knew this neighborhood. This was where he came from before success found him. Children played basketball on a cracked court with a bent rim and no net. A vendor sold peaches from a wooden cart. Old cars lined the curbs, some missing windows entirely. "We are approaching the property now, sir," the driver said quietly. Marcus's hands felt cold. He rubbed them together hard. 8 years. 8 years since he had stood on that property. 8 years since the worst day of his entire life. He closed his eyes and remembered the phone call that shattered everything. The police officer's voice. "Mr. Washington, there has been an accident. Your wife. I am so sorry. She did not make it." Jasmine, his beautiful Jasmine with her bright smile that could light up the darkest room and a heart so kind it hurt to remember. Gone in one terrible moment. A car accident. A fire. Nothing left but ashes and memories that burned worse than any flame. Marcus had been 27 years old when she died. They had only been married for 6 months, 6 short, perfect months. After she died, Marcus could not remain in that house anymore. Every room screamed her name, her coffee mug in the kitchen, her books stacked beside the bed, her jacket hanging by the door like she might walk through it any second. So he locked the door and walked away forever. He threw himself into work, building, buying, selling, making money, getting rich. Trying desperately to fill the empty hole in his chest with success. It never worked, but he kept trying anyway because trying was better than remembering. The Mercedes stopped. Marcus opened his eyes and looked through the window. There it stood, the old house on Peachtree Street. It looked terrible. White paint had turned gray and filthy. The fence leaned at dangerous angles. Weeds grew everywhere, tall and wild like an urban jungle. One upstairs window showed a long crack running diagonally across the glass. "Should I wait in the car, sir?" the driver asked. "Yes, I will not be long," Marcus said. "Just need to look around, take some photographs for the sale paperwork. 10 minutes, maybe 15. He grabbed his briefcase and stepped out. The air smelled different here. Old wood, dirt, someone cooking collard greens nearby. It smelled like his childhood, like the past reaching out to grab him. Marcus walked slowly toward the house, his expensive shoes crunching on the broken sidewalk. Just get this finished, he told himself. Take the pictures, sign the papers, sell it, move forward. But then he noticed something strange. The grass near the front porch was not as tall as the rest, like someone had walked through it recently, many times. Marcus frowned. Probably just neighborhood kids playing, he thought, or homeless people breaking in to sleep somewhere dry. He walked up to the porch. The wooden steps creaked loudly under his weight, complaining like old bones. He reached for his keys. He had brought the old house key just in case. But then he stopped. His heart started beating faster. There was light coming from inside the house. Through the dirty front window, he could see a soft yellow glow like a lamp burning. Marcus's mouth went dry. Maybe someone forgot to turn off the electricity when they closed the account, he wondered. But no, that did not make sense. The electricity had been cut off years ago. He stepped closer to the window and looked inside. What he saw made him freeze completely. The living room was not empty. There was furniture, a brown couch, a small wooden table, a colorful rug covering the floor, toys scattered everywhere, a red truck, building blocks, stuffed animals. Someone was living in his house. Anger rushed through Marcus's body like hot water through pipes. This was his house. Who would dare break in and live here? He walked to the front door and knocked hard. He heard sounds inside, footsteps, light and careful like someone trying to be quiet. The footsteps came closer. The door opened just a crack, just enough for Marcus to see one eye, one side of a face, a woman's face. "Can I help you?" she asked. Her voice was soft but scared. "Yes, you can help me buy," Marcus started to say angrily. But then the door opened wider. Marcus saw her face fully now. Every word died in his throat. Time stopped. The world stopped. Everything stopped because he knew that face. He knew those warm brown eyes. He knew that small beauty mark near her left ear. He knew the way her eyebrows curved. He knew the tiny scar above her lip from when she fell off her bike as a child. He knew everything about this face because he had loved it. Because he had kissed it. Because he had dreamed about it every single night for 8 years. "Jasmine," the word came out barely as a whisper. The woman's eyes went huge. Her face turned white as paper. Her hand gripped the door so hard her knuckles turned white. "Marcus," she breathed. They stared at each other. Neither one could move. Neither one could breathe. This was impossible, completely impossible, because Jasmine was dead. Marcus had gone to her funeral. He had watched them put her coffin in the ground. He had cried until he had no more tears left. But she was standing right here, right in front of him, alive, real, breathing. Marcus did not sleep that night. He sat in his expensive apartment with its floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking downtown Atlanta. Usually he loved this view. All those lights twinkling below made him feel powerful and successful. But tonight he did not even look at the view. He sat on his leather couch in complete darkness, staring at nothing, thinking about everything. Jasmine was alive. He had a son named Isaiah. His whole life was a lie. When the sun came up, Marcus was still sitting there. He had not moved. His expensive suit was wrinkled now. His perfect hair was messy. His phone buzzed. A text message from his assistant, Rebecca. "Good morning, Mr. Washington. Do not forget the meeting at 9 in the morning about the Peachtree Street property sale. The buyers are very excited." Marcus stared at the message. The Peachtree Street property, his old house. The house where Jasmine and Isaiah were living. He was supposed to sell it, sign the papers, take the money. But how could he do that now? His fingers shook as he typed back. "Cancel the meeting. Tell them the property is no longer for sale." He pressed send before he could change his mind. 3 dots appeared immediately. Rebecca was typing. "Are you sure? They are offering $200,000. That is a great price for that old neighborhood." Marcus typed back, "I am sure. Cancel everything related to that property." He turned off his phone and threw it on the couch. Then he stood up, walked to his bedroom, and changed into simpler clothes, jeans, a plain shirt, normal shoes instead of his fancy ones. He looked at himself in the mirror. Without the expensive suit, he looked more like the old Marcus. The Marcus from 8 years ago, before he became rich and successful and empty inside. "What are you doing?" he asked his reflection, but he knew the answer. He was going back to that house. He was going to get answers, real answers this time. By 8:30 in the morning, Marcus was parked outside the house on Peachtree Street again. He sat in the car watching the house. At 8:45, the front door opened. Jasmine came out holding Isaiah's hand. Isaiah had a backpack on, a blue one with a rocket ship on it. They walked down the broken sidewalk together. Marcus's heart squeezed tight in his chest. Isaiah was skipping a little as he walked, talking excitedly about something. Jasmine was smiling down at him, nodding, brushing his messy hair out of his eyes with her free hand. They looked happy, like a real family, like they did not need anyone else. They turned the corner and disappeared from view. Marcus waited 5 minutes, then 10, making sure they were really gone. Then he got out of his car and walked to the house. The front door was locked, of course, but Marcus still had his key. The old key from 8 years ago. His hand shook as he put the key in the lock. Click, it still worked. Marcus pushed the door open slowly and stepped inside. The house smelled different than he remembered. It smelled like cooking and soap and something sweet like cookies. It smelled like people actually lived here, like a home. Marcus stood in the doorway just looking around. The living room had changed so much. The old dusty furniture he remembered was gone. Now there was a simple brown couch with colorful pillows, a wooden coffee table with some crayons and coloring books on it, pictures on the walls, pictures Isaiah had drawn, a house, a tree, a smiling sun, a stick-figure woman holding hands with a stick-figure boy, no stick-figure man. Marcus heard a sound downstairs, the front door opening. His heart jumped into his throat. "Isaiah, go wash your hands before snack time," Jasmine's voice called out. Marcus stood up quickly, his mind racing. He should not be here. This was breaking into her house, her private space, but his feet would not move. "Mom, can I have the cookies with chocolate chips?" Isaiah's voice asked. "Just 2, we need to save some for tomorrow." Nathan heard footsteps coming up the stairs, small, fast footsteps. Isaiah was coming upstairs. Marcus looked around quickly. He could not let the boy find him like this. It would scare him. He stepped quietly into the hallway just as Isaiah reached the top of the stairs. They saw each other at the same time. Isaiah froze. His green eyes went wide with fear. "Mom," Isaiah screamed. "Mom, he is here. The man from yesterday is in our house." Marcus heard Jasmine running. Fast, panicked footsteps pounding up the stairs. She appeared at the top of the stairs. When she saw Marcus, her face filled with anger and fear. "How did you get in here?" she demanded, moving quickly to put herself between Marcus and Isaiah. "I have a key," Marcus said. "I am sorry, I just needed to understand." "You broke into my home." Jasmine's voice was shaking. Get out right now, or I am calling the police." "Please," Marcus said, holding up his hands. "Please just give me 5 minutes, 5 minutes to explain, then I will leave if you want me to." "I do not want your explanations," Jasmine said. "You have no right to be here." "He is my son," Marcus shouted. He did not mean to shout, but the words burst out of him like water from a broken dam. Isaiah whimpered and grabbed Jasmine's shirt, hiding behind her. Jasmine's eyes filled with tears. "You lost the right to say that when you believed I was dead without even questioning it. When you did not fight for me. When you just gave up." "I thought you died," Marcus said desperately. "What was I supposed to fight? A car accident? A funeral? I saw the coffin, Jasmine. I watched them lower it into the ground." "And you never wondered why it was a closed coffin?" Jasmine asked, tears running down her face now. "You never asked to see the body. You never questioned anything." Marcus opened his mouth, then closed it, because she was right. He had not questioned anything. He had been so destroyed by grief that he just accepted it, accepted what he was told. "Your mother told you I died," Jasmine said, her voice bitter and cold. "And you believed her, just like you believed everything else she told you about me." Marcus felt like he had been punched in the stomach. What are you talking about?" Jasmine laughed, but it was not a happy sound. It was a sad, broken sound. "You really do not know, do you? You really have no idea what she did." "What? Who did?" Marcus asked, but even as he said it, he knew, his mother. "Mom, I am scared," Isaiah whispered, still hiding behind Jasmine. Jasmine took a deep breath. She wiped her eyes. When she looked at Marcus again, her face was hard. "You want 5 minutes," she said. "Fine, you get 5 minutes, but not here, not in front of Isaiah." She turned to Isaiah and knelt down so she was eye level with him. "Baby, I need you to go to your room and put on your headphones. Listen to your music, the songs you love. Can you do that for me?" Isaiah nodded, but his eyes kept looking at Marcus with fear. "Is that man going to hurt you?" "No, baby, no one is going to hurt anyone. We are just going to talk, okay?" Isaiah nodded again and ran to his room. A few seconds later, Marcus heard a door close. Jasmine stood up and walked down the stairs. Marcus followed her. They went into the kitchen. Jasmine stood on one side of the small table. Marcus stood on the other. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. Then Jasmine took a deep breath. "Your mother hated me from the moment she met me," she began. Her voice was quiet but steady now. "Did you know that?" Marcus wanted to say no, wanted to defend his mother, but he could not, because deep down he had known, he just had not wanted to see it. "Your mother never wanted you to marry me," Jasmine said, looking down at the table instead of at Marcus. "She thought I was not good enough for you, too poor, too simple, too ordinary." Marcus started to speak, but Jasmine held up her hand. "No, you asked for 5 minutes, let me finish." Marcus closed his mouth and nodded. At first it was small things, Jasmine continued. Little comments that seemed like jokes but were not really jokes. She would say things like, "Oh, Jasmine, you are wearing that dress. Well, I suppose it is nice." Or, "Marcus, are you sure you want to eat Jasmine's cooking? I could make you something better." Jasmine's voice got quieter. Then after we got married, it got worse, much worse. She finally looked up at Marcus. Her eyes were red from crying, but her voice was strong. "She would call me when you were at work, every single day, sometimes twice a day. She would tell me I was making mistakes, that I was cleaning the house wrong, cooking wrong, being a wife wrong. She said I was going to ruin your life." Marcus felt sick. "Jasmine, I did not know." "Of course you did not know," Jasmine said, her voice rising. "Because I did not tell you. I thought I could handle it. I thought it would get better. I thought if I just tried harder, worked harder, was a better wife, she would accept me." She laughed that sad, broken laugh again. "I was so stupid." "You were not stupid," Marcus said quietly. "Yes, I was," Jasmine said. "Because it never got better, it got worse and worse. She started showing up at the house when you were not home. She would walk around touching things, moving things, criticizing everything. She would say, 'This house is a mess. Marcus deserves better. You do not know how to take care of him.'" Jasmine's hands gripped the chair so tight her knuckles turned white. "Then one day, about 2 months after we got married, I found out I was pregnant." Marcus's breath caught in his throat. "I was so happy," Jasmine whispered. "So excited. I wanted to tell you right away, but I wanted it to be special, so I waited. I planned a nice dinner. I was going to tell you that night, but I never got the chance." "Why not?" Marcus asked quietly. "Because your mother came to the house that afternoon." Jasmine's mind went back to that day. She could still remember it perfectly, like it had happened yesterday instead of 8 years ago. She had been in the kitchen cooking Marcus's favorite meal, chicken with rice and vegetables. She was humming a happy song, thinking about how surprised and excited Marcus would be when she told him about the baby. Then she heard the front door open. "Marcus, is that you?" she had called out. But it was not Marcus. It was his mother, Regina Cole. Regina walked into the kitchen without knocking, without being invited. She was wearing an expensive dress and pearls. Her hair was perfect. Her makeup was perfect. Everything about her was cold and perfect. "Jasmine," she said, not hello, not how are you, just Jasmine, like the name tasted bad in her mouth. "I came to talk to you alone," Regina said. Something about the way she said it made Jasmine's stomach feel tight and uncomfortable. Regina sat across from her. She put her expensive purse on the table and looked at Jasmine with cold eyes. "I am going to be direct," Regina said. "I do not like you. I never have. You are not right for my son." Each word was like a knife. Jasmine felt tears starting to form in her eyes, but she blinked them back. She would not cry in front of this woman. Then Regina opened her purse and pulled out an envelope. She placed it on the table and pushed it toward Jasmine. "What is this?" Jasmine asked. "Open it." Jasmine's hands shook as she picked up the envelope and looked inside. Money, lots of money, more money than Jasmine had ever seen at one time. "There is $50,000 in there," Regina said. "It is yours. All you have to do is leave." Jasmine looked up shocked. "What?" "Leave," Regina said simply. "Disappear tonight. Do not tell Marcus where you are going. Just go, take the money, start a new life somewhere else. Let my son have the future he deserves." "No," Jasmine said immediately, pushing the envelope back across the table. "No, I'm not leaving Marcus. I love him. We are married. We are building a life together." "You are building nothing." Regina's voice got louder and meaner. "You are a weight around his neck. You are holding him back. He could be great, but instead he is wasting his time and energy taking care of you." "That is not true," Jasmine said, tears running down her face now. "Marcus does not feel that way. He is happy with me." "He feels obligated to you," Regina said, standing up now. "He is too kind to tell you the truth, but I am not. You are not smart enough for him. You are not sophisticated enough. You are not good enough, and deep down you know it." Jasmine stood up too, shaking all over. "I want you to leave right now." Regina smiled. It was not a nice smile. "I will leave, but this conversation is not over, not by a long shot. You will leave my son's life, Jasmine, one way or another." She picked up her purse and walked toward the door. Then she stopped and turned back. "Oh, and one more thing," Regina said. "Do not bother telling Marcus about this conversation. He will never believe you. I am his mother. You are just who do you think he will choose?" Then she left. Jasmine stood in the kitchen, shaking and crying. She looked down at her stomach where a tiny baby was growing. Marcus's baby, their baby. And for the first time since she had gotten married, Jasmine felt truly afraid. After that day, your mother called me every single day, Jasmine told Marcus now, her voice breaking. Every day she would say terrible things. She would tell me I was worthless, that I was ruining your life, that you would leave me eventually, that I should just disappear and save everyone the trouble. Marcus's face had gone pale. Jasmine, I swear I did not know. I know you did not know, Jasmine said sadly. That is what made it so hard. You loved your mother, you trusted her, and she used that against both of us. Then one morning I woke up feeling sick, Jasmine said. Really sick. I was throwing up, feeling dizzy. The pregnancy test confirmed it. I was going to have a baby, your baby. She looked up at Marcus with sad eyes. I was terrified, not because I did not want the baby. I did, so much. But I was scared of what your mother would do when she found out. How did she find out? Marcus asked quietly. Jasmine took a deep breath. I did not tell her, but she has ways of finding things out. Maybe she was watching me. Maybe she hired someone to follow me. I do not know. But 3 days after I took the pregnancy test, she showed up at the house again. Jasmine's whole body trembled as she remembered. She was so angry, angrier than I had ever seen her. She said, "You think trapping my son with a baby is going to work? You think this changes anything? It does not. It just makes you more of a problem that needs to be solved." Marcus felt like he could not breathe. She said that about her own grandchild. She did not care about the baby, Jasmine said, tears streaming down her face now. She only cared about getting rid of me. She said, I gave you a chance to leave with money and dignity. You refused. Now we do this the hard way. What did she mean? Marcus asked, though part of him was terrified to know. Jasmine wiped her eyes with the back of her hand. She told me that if I did not disappear, she would make sure everyone thought I was crazy. She said she would tell people I was mentally unstable, that I was dangerous. She would get doctors to say I was not fit to be a mother. She would make sure I lost the baby, and she would make sure you believed every word of it. Marcus drove fast through the Atlanta streets. His hands gripped the steering wheel so tight his knuckles were white. He did not call his mother to tell her he was coming. He did not want to give her time to prepare, time to think of more lies. His mother, Regina Cole, lived in a huge house in Buckhead. The house had tall white columns in front like a palace. The lawn was perfectly green. The flowers were perfectly arranged. Everything was perfect on the outside. But Marcus now knew that inside his mother was rotten, evil. He pulled into the driveway and slammed on the brakes. His car stopped with a screech. He got out and marched to the front door. He did not knock. He used his key. He still had a key from when he lived here as a child. The door swung open. "Mother," Marcus shouted. His voice echoed through the big fancy house. "Mother, I know you are here. Come out." He heard footsteps on the marble floor, high heels clicking, getting closer. Regina appeared at the top of the grand staircase. She was wearing a cream-colored dress and pearls. Her hair was styled perfectly. She looked elegant and calm. "Marcus, darling," she said with a smile. "What a surprise. I did not know you were coming. Why did you call?" She walked down the stairs gracefully like a queen descending from her throne. "And why are you shouting? You know I do not like shouting in the house. It is so unrefined." Marcus stared at her. This woman who had raised him, fed him, hugged him when he was sad, read him bedtime stories, taught him to tie his shoes. This woman had destroyed his life. "Jasmine is alive," Marcus said. His voice was quiet now, but it shook with anger. Regina's smile did not change, not even a little bit. "I am sorry, dear. What did you say?" "You heard me," Marcus said. "Jasmine, my wife, the woman you told me died 8 years ago. She is alive." Regina reached the bottom of the stairs. She walked past Marcus into the living room and sat down on an expensive white couch. She crossed her legs elegantly. "Marcus, I think you need to sit down," she said calmly. "You are not making sense. Perhaps you are working too hard. You look tired." "Do not," Marcus said through clenched teeth. "Do not try to make me think I am crazy. I saw her. I talked to her. She is alive, and she told me everything." Something flickered in Regina's eyes, just for a second, but then the calm mask came back. "Everything," Regina repeated. "What exactly is everything?" "How you threatened her," Marcus said, walking into the living room. "How you told her she was not good enough for me. How you offered her money to leave. How you terrorized her when she was pregnant with my child." Regina picked up a teacup from the table next to her and took a sip. That is quite a story. It is not a story, Marcus said, his voice rising. It is the truth, and you know it. Regina set down her teacup gently. She looked at Nathan with cold eyes. Let us say hypothetically that this woman you claim is Jasmine did tell you these things. Did it ever occur to you that she might be lying? Why would she lie? Marcus demanded. Money, perhaps, Regina suggested. You are a rich man now, Marcus, a millionaire. Maybe this woman, whoever she is, saw an opportunity. Maybe she is pretending to be your dead wife to get money from you. She is not pretending, Marcus shouted. I know my own wife. I know her face, her voice, her everything. You knew your wife 8 years ago, Regina interrupted. People change, faces change, and apparently your judgment has become quite poor if you believe this ridiculous story. Marcus felt like he was going to explode. She has my son, a boy named Isaiah. He has my eyes, my face. He is 8 years old, the exact age he would be if Jasmine had been pregnant when she disappeared. Regina's expression did not change. Many children have green eyes, Marcus. That proves nothing. Stop lying, Marcus yelled. Just stop. I know what you did. Jasmine told me about the car, about the fire, about how you staged her death. Finally, Regina's calm mask cracked just a little bit. Her eyes narrowed. And you believed her. You believed some woman living in an abandoned house over your own mother. Yes, Marcus said, because unlike you, she told me the truth. Regina stood up slowly. She was shorter than Marcus, but somehow she still seemed to tower over him. The truth, she said coldly, is that Jasmine Martinez was a mistake, a terrible mistake that would have ruined your life. Marcus's breath caught. So you admit it, you admit you knew she was alive. Regina walked to the window and looked out at her perfect garden. I did what any good mother would do. I protected my son. 30 minutes later, there was a knock at the door of the Peachtree Street house. Jasmine jumped, her hand flying to her chest. Is that the police? Marcus looked out the window. No, it is my father. He opened the door. Standing on the porch was a man in his 60s with gray hair and kind eyes. He was tall like Marcus, but his shoulders were a little bent, like he carried heavy things for too long. Marcus, the man said, then his eyes moved to Jasmine and his mouth fell open. Jasmine, is that really you? Hello, Mr. Cole, Jasmine said quietly. Marcus's father, David Cole, stepped inside like he had seen a ghost. But we thought you were dead. I know, Jasmine finished. David looked at Marcus. Son, what is going on? Dad, sit down, Marcus said. This is going to take a while. They all sat in the small living room, Marcus and Jasmine on the couch, David in the old armchair, and Marcus told his father everything. He told him about finding Jasmine alive, about Isaiah, about confronting his mother and hearing her confession, about the threats she made to Jasmine 8 years ago, about the staged deed. David listened to everything without interrupting. His face got paler and paler as the story went on. When Marcus finished, David sat in silence for a long moment. Then he said, I knew she was capable of many things, but this I never imagined. Did you know, Marcus asked, did you know Jasmine was alive? No, David said firmly. I swear to you, son, I had no idea. When Regina told me about the accident, I believed her. I mourned for Jasmine. I thought she was really gone. He looked at Jasmine with sad eyes. I am so sorry for what she did to you, for not knowing, for not protecting you. It is not your fault, Jasmine said softly. About a month after Jasmine's supposed death, I noticed large amounts of money being withdrawn from our joint account, David said. When I asked Regina about it, she said she had made some investments. I did not question it at the time. How much money? Marcus asked. $50,000, David said. Then another $20,000 a few weeks later. Marcus and Jasmine looked at each other. That could be the payments, Marcus said, to the men she hired to cover up what she did. Do you still have access to those records? Jasmine asked David. David shook his head. After the divorce, most of our accounts were separated, but, he paused. But I kept copies of everything, every bank statement, every transaction, just in case. In case of what? Marcus asked. In case she tried to hide assets during the divorce, David explained. I did not trust her, so I documented everything. Hope flared in Marcus's chest. Dad, do you still have those documents? Yes, David said. In a storage unit across town. I kept them locked up in case I ever needed them. We need them, Marcus said urgently. We need them now. If we can prove Mom made those payments, we can prove she was involved in faking Jasmine's death. There is something else, David said slowly. Something I found during the divorce that I never understood until now. What? Jasmine asked. Regina owned a warehouse, David said. An old abandoned warehouse on the edge of Atlanta. She bought it about a year before Jasmine disappeared. I always thought it was strange. Why would she buy something like that? It was not an investment property. It was just sitting there empty. Jasmine's face went white. That is where she took me, the warehouse where the men held me before they took me to the car. She owned it? Marcus asked his father. David nodded. Yes, and she sold it about 6 months after Jasmine's disappearance, for much less than she paid for it, like she was trying to get rid of evidence. Marcus stood up, energy coursing through him. We can prove this. We can prove everything. The warehouse, the money transfers, all of it. But will it be enough? Jasmine asked, fear in her voice. Your mother is smart. She will have explanations for everything. She will say the warehouse was a bad investment. She will say the money was for something else. Maybe, Marcus said, but it is a start. And if we can raise enough doubt, enough questions, we can at least protect you and Isaiah from her. The next afternoon, Marcus stood outside his mother's mansion. His heart was pounding, but his face was calm. With him were 3 other people. His father David, holding a folder full of evidence. Adam Torres, a nervous-looking man in his 50s with gray hair and tired eyes. And Jasmine. Marcus had told Jasmine to stay home with Isaiah, to stay safe, but she refused. I have been running and hiding for 8 years, she had said that morning. I am done running. I need to face her. I need to look her in the eye and tell her she did not win. So here they all were, standing in front of the house where so many lies had been born. Marcus rang the doorbell. A moment later, the door opened. Regina stood there in a perfect dress with perfect hair and perfect makeup. Her eyes moved from Marcus to David to Jasmine to Adam. Her face did not change, but Marcus saw something flicker in her eyes. Surprise, maybe even fear. Marcus, darling, she said coolly, I told you to come alone. Plans changed, Marcus said. We need to talk, all of us. I have nothing to say to these people, Regina said, starting to close the door. Marcus put his foot in the doorway. You will want to hear what we have to say, trust me. Regina's eyes narrowed. Is that a threat? It is a warning, Marcus said. Now let us in, or we will have this conversation on your front porch where all your neighbors can hear. Regina looked up and down the street. Several neighbors were outside working in their yards, walking dogs. They were already looking over, curious about the visitors. Regina's jaw tightened. Fine, 5 minutes. She stepped aside and let them in. They all walked into the grand living room. Regina sat on her white couch like a queen on a throne. The others stood, forming a semicircle around her. Well, Regina said impatiently, what is this about? Marcus looked at his father. David opened the folder and pulled out the first document, the bank statement showing the $50,000 payment. This, David said, placing it on the coffee table in front of Regina, is a payment you made 8 years ago to Valley Security Services, 3 days after Jasmine supposedly died. Regina barely glanced at it. So I hired a security company. That is not a crime. No, it is not, Marcus said. But this is. David placed the email on the table, the one from Adam Torres confirming that the matter had been handled. Regina's face went pale, but she kept her voice steady. I do not know what that email means. It could be about anything. It is about faking Jasmine's death, Marcus said, and we have proof. He gestured to Adam Torres. This is Adam Torres, the man you hired, the man who burned that car on the bridge, the man who helped you make everyone think Jasmine was dead. Regina looked at Adam with cold hatred. I have never seen this man before in my life. Yes, you have, Adam said. His voice shook, but he kept talking. 8 years ago, you hired my company. You paid us $50,000 up front. You told us there was a woman, a problem that needed to disappear. You gave us her picture, her information, everything. Lies, Regina said sharply. Complete lies. You told us to take her to your warehouse, Adam continued. The one you owned on the east side of Atlanta. You said to scare her, make her understand she needed to leave and never come back. Then we were supposed to stage an accident, make it look like she died. Why would I do such a thing? Regina asked, but her voice was not as strong now. Because she was pregnant with my child, Marcus said, his voice hard and angry. Because she married me and you hated her for it, because you could not control her, so you decided to get rid of her. Regina stood up. This is ridiculous. You come into my home with some criminal making up stories. They are not stories, Jasmine said. It was the first time she had spoken since they arrived. Regina's eyes snapped to her. You are the one who started all this trouble. You are the one who trapped my son. I loved your son, Jasmine said, her voice rising. I loved him with everything I had, and you could not stand it because you knew he loved me too. You knew he would choose me over you. Back at the house on Peachtree Street, Marcus and Jasmine sat down with Isaiah to reveal the truth about his father. Isaiah sat on the couch between them, looking nervous. Isaiah, do you remember when you asked me about your dad? Jasmine said, taking his hand. About why he was not around. Isaiah nodded. You said he left before I was born, that he did not know about me. That is what I told you, Jasmine said, her voice shaking. And part of it was true. He did not know about you, but the rest was not exactly right. Isaiah looked confused. What do you mean? Marcus spoke up. Isaiah, your dad did not leave. He thought your mom had died. Someone lied to him and told him she was gone, so he did not know she was alive, and he did not know you existed. Isaiah's eyes went wide. Someone lied. Who would do that? Someone who did not want us to be a family, Jasmine said carefully. Someone who made bad choices that hurt a lot of people. Isaiah was quiet for a moment, trying to understand. Then he asked the question Marcus had been dreading. So where is my dad now? Does he know about me yet? Marcus's heart was pounding so hard he thought it might burst out of his chest. Jasmine squeezed Isaiah's hand. Baby, your dad has known about you for a few days now, she said. And he wants to be part of your life, if you want him to be. Really? Isaiah's face lit up. Where is he? Can I meet him? Jasmine looked at Marcus with tears in her eyes. Nathan took a deep breath. Isaiah, Marcus said softly, I am your dad. Isaiah stared at him. His mouth opened, but no words came out. I know this is confusing, Marcus continued. And I know I am a stranger to you right now, but I am your father. And I am so sorry I was not there when you were born. I am sorry I missed your first steps and your first words and every birthday. I am sorry for all of it. Isaiah looked at his mother. Is he telling the truth? Yes, baby, Jasmine said, tears streaming down her face. Marcus is your father. Isaiah turned back to Marcus. He studied his face carefully. We have the same eyes, he said quietly. Yes, Marcus said, we do, and the same nose. And according to your mom, we both stick our tongue out a little when we are thinking really hard. Isaiah touched his own face, then looked at Marcus's face. You are really my dad. I really am, Marcus said. Isaiah was quiet for a long time. Marcus and Jasmine waited, letting him process everything. Finally, Isaiah asked, If you are my dad, why did you stay away? Even if you thought mom was dead, you could have looked for me. You could have tried to find out if she had a baby. It was a fair question. A smart question, and it deserved an honest answer. You are right, Marcus said. I should have looked harder. I should have asked more questions. I should have never just accepted what I was told, and I will regret that for the rest of my life. He moved to kneel in front of Isaiah so they were eye to eye. But I cannot change the past. I cannot get back the 8 years I missed. All I can do is promise you that from now on I will be here every day for as long as you want me. What if I do not want you? Isaiah asked. His voice was small and hurt. What if I am mad at you for not being here? Then I will understand, Marcus said. And I will still be here, because that is what dads do. They do not leave when things get hard, they stay. Isaiah's eyes filled with tears. Everyone always leaves. Kids at school, their dads leave all the time. They promise they will come back and then they do not. I know, Marcus said, and I know I am asking you to trust me when I have not earned that trust yet. But I promise you, Isaiah, I'm not going anywhere, ever. A tear rolled down Isaiah's cheek. Do you promise? I promise, Marcus said. Cross my heart. Isaiah looked at his mother. Mom, is he telling the truth? Will he really stay? Jasmine wiped her own tears. I think he will, baby, I really do. Isaiah turned back to Marcus. For a long moment he just looked at him. Then slowly he reached out and touched Marcus's face, like he was checking to make sure Marcus was real. You are really my dad, Isaiah whispered. I am really your dad, Marcus whispered back. And then Isaiah did something Marcus did not expect. He threw his arms around Marcus's neck and hugged him tight. Marcus hugged him back, tears streaming down his face. This little boy, his son, His child, who he had never held as a baby, never tucked into bed, never read stories to, but he was holding him now, and that was a start. If you enjoyed this story, like this video, and leave a comment telling me what you thought. And if you're not already subscribed to the channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell to get alerts for new stories like this one. Thanks for watching.